This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic. And we are back for the Rick and Johnny podcast, where we talk about everything under the two nerdy suns. Could be from movies, could be from Marvel, could be from DC, could be from comics, could be from TV shows, could be from anything. Video games, although we have too old a game. If there's Overwatch stuff that comes out, Johnny and Ricky are your boys, because we play Overwatch here for MVP. But Johnny, we got a jam-packed show. It's pretty much a Marvel DC day, a typical day for the Rick and Johnny podcast. Going to be looking at a Marvel theory about S.W.O.R.D maybe being introduced into Phase 4 for the MCU. We're also going to look at, on the Marvel side, the Disney-Fox deal. We thought it'd be done by now. It's not. It will be done in March. So we're going to look at some of the movies that have been shelved by Fox and how they should look, or what we want them to look like under the Disney brand. And then in the middle of that, we're going to talk about some DC. Should they continue to focus on other heroes besides Batman and Superman, and kind of talk about everything that's going on with Matt Reeves' The Batman movie right now. But before we get into everything, I got to let you know, make sure to go to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast to help support us. Johnny and I did the Patreon podcast for January. If you want to pay for it, that's great. $1, you get the audio. $2, you get the video. If not, you can, at the $10 tier, you can join a podcast. We have different rewards for different tiers on our Patreon, and it helps support us, making sure we can do what we love to do for you guys each and every week. But Johnny, let's get started with the show, and let's start with this Marvel theory. So the theory is that obviously S.W.O.R.D is dead.
Yes.
We have seen after the Winter Soldier, after everything that happened in Captain America, Civil War, S.W.O.R.D is pretty much dead.
Yeah.
And there will be hopefully a new organization for Nick Fury in Phase 4. The kind of general synopsis is that it is going to be S.W.O.R.D. And if you are unfamiliar with S.W.O.R.D, that is the Sentient World Observation and Response Department. They basically are S.W.O.R.D for the cosmic size, and they're on a bigger scale. I want to ask you for if I'm going to hit you straight with it.
Yeah. Is
S.W.O.R.D going to be the next step for Nick Fury in Phase 4?
So one thing I want to state first, for anyone like me that watched it, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is sort of like set over here. Like, it's still sort of connected to the MCU, but it's like, yeah, we don't really
It's
deal
also
with that
like the
very much.
Netflix shows, where it's like they might reference what's going on vaguely, but they're not connected.
They are connected, but it's like
they're not
vaguely connected. I would say it's like a vaguely connected. It's like we're not necessarily really gonna cross over. Like Nick Fury was on one Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Sif was on 2 of them, but really that's all you get.
Yeah.
You're not really you're gonna have them reference a ton into the MCU. Actually, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. follows whatever the MCU does. So when Winter Soldier happened that season, S.H.I.E.L.D. fell, and then dealing with that. It's actually a really cool show. But anyways, back to, I think what it is going to eventually lead to S.W.O.R.D, because with everything going on right now, you really don't have S.H.I.E.L.D. You have sort of like Nick and Maria doing sort of just a worldwide espionage, and
They're kind of mercenary on their own.
they're like he's sort of like the guy that IT guy that works out of his house. He uses the resources he has, and him and Maria are going around just doing troubleshooting on the world. But eventually the MCU wants to go into Phase 4, into Cosmic. The next step for him would be, well, I'm going to join the next biggest thing, S.W.O.R.D. And you might think, well, he was in, was it Age of Ultron? He was kind of bringing S.H.I.E.L.D. back, per se, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, he still had access to those ships. That's one thing. But then what was it? We had Age of Ultron as well in the middle, where he was that, and then he kind of went wait, he shadowed out in Winter Soldier, right?
Yes.
And we haven't seen him till Age of Ultron. And then we skip around and now we finally saw him in Infinity War. Okay, I want to get that straight in my head before. So that would mean that everything he's been doing sort of a S.H.I.E.L.D. thing till then, but
well, and the thing I just want to throw out there is what you just said is basically the whole thing of Marvel has said they want to go more cosmic.
Yeah.
In Phase 4. We're talking about Eternals are going to be there. Guardians Volume 3. Captain Marvel 2 is obviously going to be greenlit because I'm assuming that movie is going to do fairly well for them. And they want to go more outside of what's been going on Earth. And the thing that I find interesting is, like, if that's the case, then S.W.O.R.D is definitely where you want to go with it.
yeah.
The thing is, do you, like, for S.W.O.R.D, is it going to be like a Nick Fury run department? I don't think it's going to be. Or is he going to create it and then they're going to hand it off to the person who's going to run S.W.O.R.D?
What would be cool is like maybe it was like Nick Fury ever since the Avengers first movie with
in
the attack on in 2012 the Chitauri attack, and that was why I lost train of thought earlier a little bit. He was starting like, okay, aliens are fucking out there, and now the public knows about it.
We can't say they're not.
We cannot say they're not because look at New York, look at all the footage. Well, no one can say they're not out there anymore. So we're gonna start something, and maybe Nick like got the ball rolling on it, saying, "Yeah, we need to start something to get this going." And then you can see some clips from Spider-Man Homecoming where they're collecting
that equipment
because
to make
that's what started the Vulture thing. It's like. No, we're like, and they said Tony Stark is doing the cleanup, which maybe he's like, okay, because Tony Stark relief effort, he's going to use all his money to clean it up, but S.H.I.E.L.D's going to take all that stuff.
Yeah,
and that's how they can develop.
Tony was putting his name on it. That's
he
about
was.
it.
Well, and I don't even think it was that. He was sort of that, but the thing is like, felt responsible.
Yeah.
Because
he's been like, he said to Thanos, "You've been in my head."
Yeah, and it wasn't even necessarily that. It's maybe like once he went into space and almost died.
Yeah,
thinking I'm not coming back was the thought of, oh hey, I should probably do more to help out. Okay, I'm going to pay for a lot of the damage done to New York because it wasn't necessarily my fault. But I was part of what happened.
But it was the event. Like
it was the Avengers. People could blame the Avengers, exactly. So if Tony didn't, but anyways, going past that, I think that's what they did is they took the alien tech, and Nick's like, we can use this to start another. Like it maybe start like, okay, a branch of S.H.I.E.L.D. We'll have something at least orbiting Earth, because I think that's what usually it does. S.W.O.R.D's ship in the comics is it does other things, but it usually probably orbits Earth.
You're talking about the is it the headquarters called Peak?
Sure. I don't remember.
It looks like a prism, and then it's got like the
circular
thing on the outside of it.
Yeah, so, I think that's. I didn't remember the name of it.
That's another thing that's interesting, too, is, of course, that the MCU haven't followed the comics completely 100%.
No, but I mean, like, they just take basic skeletal frame of it.
I wonder if in Captain Marvel, we are going to see the beginnings of this S.W.O.R.D initiative, where maybe it's something we see on somebody's desk of, like, S.W.O.R.D, where it's like, hey,
at the very end,
they have thought about this. Not even that, just in the movie where it's like it's referenced such a small amount because S.H.I.E.L.D. might be like, hey, there might be things out there. Hey, let's start developing this. But they never like kickstarted it in a way. Whereas now, after what happened in Avengers, Nick Fury's probably like, hey, I got to start getting this ramped up again because there definitely is threats on the outside to Earth. And in the comics, what happened with S.W.O.R.D was during Secret Invasion, which we're going to get a little bit of that in Captain Marvel. S.W.O.R.D's headquarters, called the Peak, was destroyed by a Skrull infiltrator posing as S.H.I.E.L.D's Dum Dum Dugan. Many agents die in the initial explosion, though others survive due to hostile environmental suits. Brand, encased in one of the suits, manages to make her way into one of the Skrull ships. And Brand being, I believe she is the one that was in the comics, the head of S.W.O.R.D.
Yeah. No, what does S.W.O.R.D stand for again? Do you have it up on yours?
S.W.O.R.D is the Sentient World Observation and Response Department.
Okay, so I mean, it would be cool if someone had that on their desk, but I feel like that would be more of a, hey, end of the movie, someone has like on their desk S.W.O.R.D initiative or something like that, because we really don't have anything in the MCU stating like, hey, we have encounters with aliens until Captain Marvel, which is in the 90s.
Yeah.
Before it would have been, first one would have been Chitauri in New York, but now it's at least Nick Fury dealing with aliens a little bit. So, and it's not really like public that we know of yet. Something could change that in Captain Marvel.
Well, and the other thing that throws into it is S.W.O.R.D was introduced in the X-Men comics.
Yes.
First off, Marvel can't use S.W.O.R.D in a movie until the Fox deal goes through, because I'm assuming because it was introduced in a X-Men comic, that's why Fox has the rights to it.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it was introduced in the X-Men world, but like, then you know what? That is, I'm gonna go back on it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna see it in Captain Marvel. The reason why is
The deal's
if
not done
the
until
deal's
March.
not gonna get done until early March.
Oh, it's definitely not going to be
There's not
then.
going to
You're
be
right.
enough time, because that comes out March 8th.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not going to happen then.
So like,
Unless they reference it and don't say the name.
yes, they could do that.
Yeah, they can say like, hey, we're starting a new thing. And then like Endgame, they can bring up S.W.O.R.D. They don't name it yet.
They vaguely describe it.
Or they can even have like a bunch of different like initiatives that like...
Or it could just be something of like, hey, we like on a board, like it might just be like one of the threats that they got to start planning is sentient life and like outside of Earth.
Or just so like this would be just a cool sort of dynamic before S.W.O.R.D starts and we don't have the name to it. It's like, hey, Nick makes a line of I'm gonna sort of paraphrase a line I'm making up. Nick goes, "We'll be the shield if you'll be our sword."
I mean,
right before she leaves.
Oh, come on.
Sort of cheesy, but kind of cool.
That's like Aquaman type of cheese.
I know, but still, tell me it wouldn't be kind of cool and referencing S.W.O.R.D without it being S.W.O.R.D.
It'd be, can Samuel Jackson make the line cool? That's how we
You
debate
think
it.
Samuel L. Jackson couldn't make the line cool?
Samuel L. Jackson could make anything cool.
Exactly.
He can make a sugar cube cool. Let's be completely
He can make
honest.
fire cool.
He can make anything cool. The uncoolest thing in the world, he can make it cool.
Really? Just going to go over my bad joke over there about fire?
Going to completely
Ignore it.
that one. But I mean, so that means because of the Fox Disney deal, we're not looking at S.W.O.R.D until Endgame. Correct?
Exactly. Yeah, no.
And at that point...
Probably not. Yeah. Maybe they might be able to sneak it in an Endgame, but that's even debatable.
Well, and that's interesting because with Endgame... I mean,
because post filming has to be done by now.
Yeah, right now they're probably doing all the effects and stuff.
Yeah,
like, they're done filming. It's all just making it, then all the special effects and stuff. But the thing that's interesting about that is I don't think we're gonna get any scenes in the movie about a S.W.O.R.D. If anything, it's going to be maybe a post-credit scene.
Yeah,
they might want to throw it in there, or they just say, "Hey, you know what? The timing's not going to work out. We've got other things that we're going to do."
Well, they can throw it in, like I said, maybe they may, like I said, then in Marvel, MCU Marvel is really good at doing this, making references to things they don't have access to without it being a problem. I mean, they didn't do you and I got upset when they Miracle Mutant thing, but I mean, it was, let's put it this way, if you want to try to soften the blow of that one,
which I was always confused how all the mutants are over here with Fox except for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Yeah, I think it's because they also did stuff in the Avengers comics, which is why it's like a dual ownership. So maybe that's what.
Then why wasn't Wolverine a dual guy?
I don't know.
That would have been, which, by the way, this is off topic.
I don't know how they do that. I don't know how the paperwork works with that.
You know what I read online that kind of hit me? Dark Phoenix is going to be the first X-Men movie in our lifetime without Wolverine in it.
Wow.
It's going to be the first one. And then like, I saw that article. I was like, let's not speak until after the movie because there might be a cameo.
Wolverine cameo.
His suit might be laying around somewhere, or a Weapon X reference might be thrown out.
But that's not Wolverine being in it.
It's a Wolverine cameo to me. But I mean,
just anything to make Wolverine in it, right?
Let's be honest. Hugh Jackman might be cameoing in it. We don't know for sure.
Exactly. Let's not say that until we see it.
Google thinks he's in Avengers Endgame.
I'm okay with that.
But with S.W.O.R.D and Nick Fury, I think it's one of those things where at the soonest we will see it is Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
Because here's another thing that's interesting that I want to throw onto this pot that we're kind of mixing together.
Stir a little more.
In Spider-Man Far From Home, you might be saying, but why Mysterio is not a cosmic entity? First off, Mysterio tricks people. What if then we've already heard, hopefully we're getting a trailer on Tuesday, is what the rumor says. We've already heard, though, from that trailer that they showed at the Brazil Comic-Con.
Say Brazil.
I said Brazil. But what they showed at that Comic-Con. But I mean, the point I'm trying to get to is Mysterio is working with S.W.O.R.D.
Yeah.
And what if he is deceiving S.W.O.R.D. as S.W.O.R.D. doesn't know he's just a special effects guy. They think he is a cosmic entity. Like, holy crap, look at what this guy can do. He's like Captain Marvel, like Doctor Strange in a way.
Yeah, maybe.
And deceiving them to where that's why S.W.O.R.D, and they can actually then call it S.W.O.R.D in Spider-Man Far From Home, because the Fox Disney deal will be done, because it has to be done by March if it's going to go through. And that's when they can introduce S.W.O.R.D, because that's supposed to take place moments after Avengers Endgame.
Yeah. To add on to yours, it's either that he's like deceiving them with his special effects thing, or he's also using Chitauri tech and other alien tech, because also like maybe there was stuff left around from the Dark Elves.
Yeah.
Who else do we have from Wakanda and Avengers Infinity War?
You're talking about the Children of Thanos?
Yes, maybe something was left around from one of them. I mean, most likely the only one it would be is Call Obsidian would have left something behind, because Ebony Maw didn't have anything.
Yeah, Ebony Maw's also got into space.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying that necessarily. I'm saying, like, before they left, did they leave anything behind? Well, one left a hand and possibly damaged something. The other two...
The other one had his Sith.
Yeah.
Scythe, I should say, that Vision used to stab him. But I don't know why the Avengers would just leave that.
Well, that one sucked up with him.
No, that was
earlier. The daughter.
I'm talking about at the end. No.
Oh, you're right.
At the end,
when they killed him, when Vision killed him,
stabbed him, and right when he said to Cap, "We don't trade lives."
But so did didn't the daughter of Thanos, one of them, I forgot.
She died.
She died, but I'm saying, didn't she leave that spear type thing behind?
That's the thing.
I have to watch a movie
with hers. Again. Because she got sucked up into the big machine.
No, that was
the chick.
No, that was the dude.
No, that was the chick. I'm telling you. Because Ebony Maw got sucked into space.
Yeah.
Cole Obsidian.
I'm not saying their deaths. I'm saying their weaponry.
Yeah, I'm saying her weaponry got sucked up with her and we didn't see it.
Yes, but before that, when they're fighting Vision and Scarlet Witch, remember she had that spear?
That got sucked up.
No, that was the other guys.
They both did. I'm telling you. I watched it now 3 times in the last week. When that happens, the weapons both get sucked up, because both of the weapons.
I only
come
noticed
up
that
with them.
his weapon got sucked up.
His comes up, and then the other one, it was in Black Widow's hands, and it gets ripped out of her hands and sucked up with her. Yeah, because one was on the ground, that goes up with him, and then one was in
I didn't know.
Black Widow's hands, and it gets sucked out of the hands and gets thrown up there.
So then that didn't get left behind either. So, well, anyways, I mean, still, the attack on Wakanda, there's still all those alien ships around Wakanda that someone could have got access to. You never know.
That could be a funny dynamic of, like, Nick Fury getting bamboozled by Mysterio. Like, wait, you're not a cosmic entity? Like, we are S.W.O.R.D. That is what we deal with now.
Yeah.
And, like,
that'd be the thing.
Let's be honest. Mysterio powers, if you don't know he's trying to, it's just all visual effects, could look very cosmic-y.
Exactly. I mean, they even said, and it was funny that they had
Is that
problems.
even a word, cosmic-y?
Well, we'll use it. Hashtag cosmic-y now.
Yeah, hashtag cosmic. Cosmic-y.
Cosmic-y.
Go ahead. What you
like,
were
remember in the same video, the Brazil interview, they said they were having problems with the suit, Mysterio's, because it would just randomly flash lights at times. That's kind of funny. But, I mean, like I said, it could be just the special effects. It could be that he's using some sort of alien tech that he stole, just like, the whole thing crash landed on the beach. Who knows? He wasn't there before that.
I want to ask you
this. In Spider-Man Homecoming, just to state what movie.
I want to change really quick and ask you this. Are Kevin Feige and MCU Marvel going to use S.W.O.R.D to introduce the X-Men? Maybe, and here's what I'm spitting out here. You know me. I love to come up with these post-credit scenes. What if at the end of either Infinity War or the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, probably at the end of Infinity War, because it's a post-credit scene, what if we find out Nick Fury has been working with Charles to develop S.W.O.R.D?
Maybe.
In the MCU.
It would be interesting.
Because the MCU, they vaguely have followed the comics.
Yeah, exactly.
They have not done the comics to a T, so even though that's not how the S.W.O.R.D was developed in the comics, could that be a way for them to bring the X-Men into it and basically be like, hey, the reason you didn't know the mutants were around was because S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing their best to basically hide the mutants. So it's like the X-Men were being hidden from society because they didn't want anything to happen. Mutants, they were living among us, where you didn't know they were mutants, and S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing the best that they could to hide the mutants because...
Right, like keep an eye on them, but...
Because S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 90s might have done an initiative like that because Talos, who is the leader of the Skrull, and he's going to be Nick Fury's boss in Captain Marvel, might have set that up as a, hey, we're going to hide them, but it was really used as a double-edged thing to also hide...
A double-edged sword?
Maybe. To hide the Skrulls who were hiding on Earth as well.
Very true. That could be it. So it's like, oh, hey, we found another mutant. And then, like, who knows? The Skrulls could give them some sort of power. Because, I mean, in the cartoon,
those are the Super Skrulls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But those would be the ones that, like, oh, it's a mutant, but we have a Super Skrull here instead.
Exactly.
And it's a good way to hide it. Yeah, that's true. Or it just him being part of S.H.I.E.L.D. in general. Oh, I can now make you into... I have access to, like, everything. So now I can give you an identification. I can give you... And this and this and this, and like, no one knows you're not that person now because I have access to social security records, blah blah blah, and blah blah blah, everything that you need to be part of society now.
Yeah, I just think it's gonna be
like that old lady.
Exactly,
that she beats up in the
one that she
trailer,
beats the hell out of in the train.
Bus? I think.
Do you think that S.W.O.R.D is gonna be used if they do use S.W.O.R.D? Are they going to use it to help introduce the X-Men in the MCU? Because this is a discussion we're always going to have.
I think it's going to be more so to be used to introduce the cosmic realm of the Marvel
transition us over
into cosmic, less of used to introduce X-Men. Yeah, it might help to do that per se, or at least to introduce mutants because the leader of S.W.O.R.D is half mutant, half alien.
Yeah.
But I think all in all, it would be less that. I think if anything, Endgame or even Spider, you can introduce them in some way. Anyone that connects to the X-Men somehow. Spider-Man connects to the X-Men.
Yeah.
You can do that as one of his things because, like, them, sadly, it would be them rejecting him. Because that's what they do. He's like, well, you're not. They don't consider him a true mutant because he's not born with the powers.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was that, or like you could do it in Endgame. You can have introduce them somehow as a post-credit scene, maybe. But that's also cutting it close to the deal.
I honestly think if we're getting X-Men introduced, it's a post-credit Endgame.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think. Because
that's the earliest we're going to get it, though, too.
I think a post-credit for Endgame from March until when we get it is quick enough. And let's be completely honest, Marvel could always, like MCU Marvel Studios, I should say, could always have one lined up where it's like, okay, we've got our post-credits, but for this one, if it goes through, we use this one.
That's true.
If not, we use this one. Or we put this one in. Oh, it didn't go through? We don't have it in.
Yeah, I don't think Marvel would waste the money recording all of them, though. They might, they may not. I don't know.
CGI Hulk?
That's true. They
did waste.
They waste money to deceive us.
So why not potentially waste money?
I just don't know if that comes down to a not a breaching contract, but that comes down to like legal stuff, where it's like, hey, you're recording something that's not that you don't own. Yeah, it's like you don't own this. You don't have the right to film it.
But if it doesn't see the light of day,
that's true,
and it just gets destroyed, like
that depends if they want to use the money on that at that point.
I think it'd be worth it.
Maybe
I think it'd be very
just
worth
to have it waiting.
But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in the comment section. I pointed the camera, although I know it had turned off on us, but let us know what you guys think down below. Is S.W.O.R.D going to be the next step for Nick Fury in Phase 4? How do you think they introduce it? Do they use it to help them introduce the X-Men into the MCU? What are you guys thinking?